I'm Leigh Cohn, and I've put together this video workshop to show you my oil painting process. I'll explain how to go from blank canvas to finished painting. In this case, I knew that I wanted to take on a big beach painting, so I took photos at Carlsbad State Beach in San Diego, North County, about a mile from my studio. I combined some of the images in Photoshop and came up with my composition. I selected my color palette, but more about that later, and then I got started on a 9-foot wide by 4-foot high triptych. Okay, here we go. It was a 5-month project, so I better speed things up. The projector allows me to rough in the entire canvas without sketching, or being a good draftsman. Even without speeding up the video, I normally paint rapidly, moving throughout the canvases to put in the essential objects' colors and tones. And after 5 hours of painting, I'm ready to turn off the projector and see what I have. Okay, now about the color palette. This is a big painting, so I've chosen 9 colors plus titanium white. I've got 2 blues, yellows, and reds, plus turquoise, magnesium green, and dioxide purple. That's probably more colors than I'd typically choose for a smaller painting. I start by mixing the deepest primary colors I have here: ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow, and alizarin crimson. I'll rarely use a tube of black paint, because I can usually get a richer blackish that will blend more harmoniously into the picture. This is a clean palette, and I'll mix lots of different colors and use it for several days. I'll alternate between palettes, letting some dry out, and then mixing more colors on top of those. But for now, let's get busy transforming what is essentially a big color sketch into a vibrant, multi-layered, finished painting. Remember these pinks and purples when you look at the final detail of these waves a little later. Pay attention to the clouds, because I'll return to them again as the video evolves. I'll blend layer over layer of many shades of gray, and they're tinted with pinks, yellows, purples, and blues. I obviously paint very fast and with short brush strokes, and some of the Impressionists are certainly known for that style. I don't even know if I'd be able to paint any other way. It just comes natural to me. At this point I stopped counting the days. This is a big painting, and with my small strokes it took several months to complete. Not just that, but my entire process takes time. There's layers and layers of overlapping paint. I started with the medium-sized brushes, but I used progressively smaller brushes until the final details are being made with a tiny point. Or I'll fine-tune a line by removing bits of paint with a Q-tip. So, big canvas, small brushes, and lots of brush strokes. I like to work the whole canvas with some of the same colors here and there. So for example, you'll see touches of the same grays in the clouds, water, and even the sand. I'll also retain some of the original rusty orange undercoat so that it peeks through, which will help provide some subtle balance throughout the entire painting. I could have called it finished, but I knew it wasn't. Nonetheless, I decided to take a break while I addressed some business and family concerns, which gave me the opportunity to look at the painting every day and think about what it still needed. I'm resuming about 2 months later. I took a break, and now I'm going back to it. I really enjoy listening to music while I paint, and I usually pick up on the beat with my brush strokes. It becomes physical and rhythmic, like dancing or playing an instrument in a band. While I'm painting, I'm cognizant that the finished painting is going to have a life of its own. It will probably get framed and hung on a wall. Maybe it will be in an office and seen by lots of different people. Or perhaps it will end up in a family home and get passed down from generation to generation. If I have someone specific in mind, I think about our relationship and the love I feel for that person. I get a sense of well-being by knowing that they'll be looking at that picture and they'll think lovingly about me. To be perfectly honest, I do think about my legacy, and my paintings are a significant part of how I see myself occupying the world after I'm gone. I can't say that having a legacy is my motivation, but it comes up in my thoughts while I paint, and it is part of my process. Now just a few more final details. So a lot of those pinks and purples are still showing through, but there's lots of layers over them. Although I dabbled for years, I started to be passionate about painting in the early 90s. For business, I frequently traveled to large cities, so I had the opportunity to visit many art museums where I could carefully study works by the Impressionists. And I read books and watched videos about them. I like other styles of art, but this is where my heart lies. For better or worse, I'm self-trained. But I often visited studios and galleries, and I always asked the artists questions about their materials and techniques. Everything from how do they know when they are finished, to how do they clean their brushes. As a serious amateur, I've been extremely fortunate because people seem to like my work. I'm the first to admit that they're not all masterpieces. I think most of them are just kind of eh. Nonetheless, I've given away more than 200 paintings, and some are hanging in public places, like Balboa Park in San Diego, Carlsbad City Hall, and numerous eating disorder treatment facilities. That's it. They're owned by friends and strangers all over the world, and knowing that gives me tremendous satisfaction. I attempted to have 3 canvases that were pleasing compositions on their own, and that they would create a dramatic triptych. I think it turned out pretty good.